In the tapestry of history, certain figures stand out, their lives woven into the very fabric of our collective memory. We remember them for their courage, their wisdom, or their unwavering faith, qualities that transcend time and continue to inspire us today. Abraham is one such figure, a beacon of faith and resilience. He stands as a giant of faith, a patriarch to Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike, revered across millennia and cultures. God chose Abraham, promising to make him the father of a great nation, a promise that would shape the course of history. This covenant came with great blessing, but it also came with great responsibility, a divine pact that required unwavering faith and obedience. Abraham's life became a testament to his trust in God, a trust that would be tested in ways he could never have imagined, through trials and tribulations that would challenge his very soul. Abraham listened to God's voice, a voice that guided him through the uncertainties of life. He left his home and ventured into the unknown, embarking on a journey that would take him across vast deserts and through uncharted territories. He faced famine, war, and uncertainty, each challenge a test of his faith and resolve. Through it all, his faith never wavered, a steadfast beacon in the darkest of times. He believed in the promises of God, even when they seemed impossible, holding on to hope with a heart full of faith. Little did he know that his greatest test was yet to come, a test that would shake him to his very core, challenging everything he held dear and believed in. Abraham's story is not just one of faith, but of perseverance, courage, and the enduring human spirit. It reminds us that even in the face of insurmountable odds, faith can guide us through the darkest valleys and lead us to the light. His legacy lives on, a testament to the power of faith and the enduring promise of God's covenant, a story that continues to inspire generations. Abraham's journey is a timeless reminder that with faith all things are possible, and that the promises of God are always within reach, no matter how distant they may seem. Years passed, filled with both joy and sorrow. The sands of time witnessed the ebb and flow of life, the laughter of children and the tears of loss. Abraham and his wife Sarah were blessed with a son, Isaac. This child was not just any child, he was the embodiment of their dreams and the answer to their prayers. Isaac represented the fulfillment of God's promise, a miracle in their old age. He was the light of their lives, the joy that filled their hearts. He was the child of laughter, the heir to the covenant. Every step he took, every word he spoke was a testament to the faith and patience of his parents. But God, in his infinite wisdom, had one more test for Abraham, a test that defied human understanding. It was a test that would challenge the very core of his faith and obedience. He asked Abraham to do the unthinkable, to sacrifice his son, his only son Isaac, on Mount Moriah. The command was clear, yet it was beyond comprehension. Imagine the weight of those words. The son he had waited for, the son he had cherished, was now to be offered as a sacrifice. The son he loved more than life itself, the son who represented the fulfillment of all God's promises, was to be sacrificed. Abraham was torn. His heart was a battlefield of faith and love. His heart ached with an unbearable pain. The thought of losing Isaac was like a dagger to his soul, yet his faith in God was unwavering. How could he, how could any father even contemplate such a thing? The struggle within him was immense, a true test of his devotion and trust in God's plan. The journey to Mount Moriah was long and arduous. With each step, Abraham's burden grew heavier. The weight of his love for Isaac, the weight of his obedience to God, pressed down on him. Yet he continued on. We can only imagine the silent conversations with God, the tears shed under the vast desert sky. He told Isaac they were going to worship God. He could not bear to break his son's heart before it was necessary. Every glance at Isaac's innocent face, every question from his young lips deepened the wound in Abraham's soul. They arrived at Mount Moriah. Abraham built an altar, his hands trembling. He bound Isaac and laid him upon the wood. His heart cried out, his soul screamed in agony. Yet he raised the knife. This was the ultimate test of faith, to trust God even when his command seemed cruel, even when it meant sacrificing everything. In that moment of unbearable tension, as the blade glinted in the sunlight, time seemed to stand still. The fate of a nation, the very nature of faith itself, hung in the balance. Would Abraham go through with it? Just as Abraham was about to strike, a voice rang out from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy." God had intervened. He had seen Abraham's unwavering faith, his willingness to obey even the most difficult command. He had proven his love for God, a love that transcended even his love for his son. Relief washed over Abraham. He looked up and saw a ram caught in a thicket. God had provided a substitute sacrifice, a way out of the unimaginable. Abraham had passed the test, a test that few could even comprehend, let alone endure. The ram caught in the thicket became a powerful symbol, a representation of God's provision and mercy. This image, deeply rooted in the story of Abraham and Isaac, has transcended time and culture, resonating with countless generations. It is a testament to the belief that in moments of despair and uncertainty, divine intervention is always at hand. It spoke of God's willingness to provide a way out, even in the darkest of times. The landscape of our lives may often seem bleak, with shadows of doubt and fear looming large. Yet the story of the ram in the thicket reassures us that there is always hope, a glimmer of light breaking through the darkest clouds. This act of substitution would echo throughout history, pointing towards the ultimate sacrifice, God's own Son, Jesus, offered as a sacrifice for the sins of humanity. The crucifixion stands as the ultimate fulfillment of this ancient symbol, a profound act of love and redemption that has shaped the course of human history. Abraham's story is not just a tale from a distant past. It is a living narrative that continues to inspire and challenge us today. His journey, marked by faith and obedience, serves as a powerful reminder of the lengths to which we are called to go in our own spiritual journeys. It is a timeless message of faith, obedience, and the unwavering love of God. The ancient scenes of worship and prayer depicted in the story of Abraham are mirrored in our own acts of devotion, connecting us to a lineage of believers who have trusted in God's promises. It reminds us that even in the face of unimaginable trials, even when we are asked to sacrifice what we hold most dear, God is faithful. The altar, the place of sacrifice, becomes a place of encounter with the divine, where our deepest fears and hopes are laid bare. He will provide a way, a ram in the thicket, if we are willing to trust him completely. This trust is not passive but active, requiring us to step forward in faith, believing that God's provision is always near, even when it seems hidden in the thicket of our circumstances. Section 7. A covenant renewed. After the sacrifice of the ram, God renewed his covenant with Abraham. He promised to multiply his descendants like the stars in the sky, to bless them and make them a great nation. This covenant, forged in the fires of sacrifice and obedience, became the foundation of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Abraham's faith, tested to its very limits, emerged stronger than ever. He had learned that God was faithful, even when his ways were beyond human understanding. He had experienced the depths of God's love, a love that spared his son and provided a way out of the impossible. Section 8. A legacy of faith. The story of Abraham and Isaac is a story that continues to resonate with people of faith today. It reminds us that true faith requires sacrifice, that obedience to God is paramount, and that God's love and provision are boundless. Abraham's legacy is not just one of lineage, but one of unwavering faith, a faith that inspires us to trust God even in the face of our own Mount Moriahs. We all face challenges in life. We all experience moments when our faith is tested, when we are asked to surrender our desires to God's will. It is in those moments, when we are tempted to doubt or despair, that we can look to Abraham's example. Section 9. Echoes in eternity. The story of Abraham and Isaac echoes through the halls of time. It whispers to us of a God who sees, who hears, who understands the depths of our struggles. It reassures us that we are not alone in our trials, that God is with us even in the darkest of valleys. This story is not just an ancient narrative, it is a living testament to the power of faith. It is a beacon of hope in a world often shrouded in darkness. It reminds us that even in the face of the unimaginable, God is faithful, and his love endures forever. Section 10. Our own Mount Moriah. Each of us may face our own Mount Moriah in life, a moment when we are asked to surrender our deepest fears, our most cherished desires, to God. It is in those moments, When the weight of the world seems to rest upon our shoulders, that we must remember Abraham. We must remember his unwavering faith, his willingness to trust God, even when it seemed impossible. Let us strive to live lives of faith, obedience, and trust in the God who sees, who hears, and who provides. Let us be inspired by Abraham's example, knowing that even in the face of our own Mount Moriahs, God is faithful. His love will see us through.